Good morning, children. Today is a revision session, birth summary, questions and answers. The first one, why was Joe Morgan waiting for Andrew? Answer, Joe Morgan and his wife had been married nearly 20 years and were expecting their first child. At nearly midnight, Joe was worried and walked up and down waiting for Andrew to reach Bringower. Okay. Andrew now felt dull and listless. Give two reasons. On Joe Morgan's call, Andrew, along with Joe, set out for Joe's house. The night air was cool and deep with quiet mystery, but Andrew left dull and listless as if there's no life in him because it was past midnight and he was reflecting about his own relationship. Reflecting means thinking about his own relationship with Christine, the girl he loved. The next one. What did Andrew notice as he entered Joe's house? That means, what did he see? As Andrew entered the door of number 12, he saw a narrow stair which led up to a small bedroom, clean but poorly furnished and lit only by an oil lamp. Here, Mrs. Morgan's mother, a tall grey haired woman of nearly 70, and a stout elderly midwife waited beside the patient. Midwife means like a nurse. What was the old woman's fear? How did Andrew reassure her? So, the old woman had some fear in her mind. So, what assurance did Andrew give her? When the old woman returned with a cup of tea, Andrew smiled faintly. He noticed the old woman, her wisdom in experience, and realized that there had been a period of waiting. She was afraid he would leave the case, saying he would return later. But he assured her that he would not run away because it was a complicated case. That is why. What were the only sounds that Andrew heard in the thick of the night? As Andrew sat by the kitchen fire, he noticed that it was still midnight. The only sound that he could hear was the crackle of embers in the fireplace, the slow tick-tock of the wall clock, and Morgan's footsteps as he moved to and fro in the street outside. The next one, children. What was weighing on Andrew's mind as he waited for the patient? Andrew's thoughts were heavy and muddled. Muddled meant he was confused. That is what muddled means. The episode he had witnessed at Cardiff station still gripped him and made him gloomy. That means he was so fearful of that made him very, very sad. He thought of Bramwell, foolishly loyal to a woman who deceived him, cheated him. Yes, he thought of Edward Page, tied to the shrewish Blodwen, and of Denny, living unhappily apart from his wife. So he thought better to be happy rather than unhappy. Why does the writer say that the old woman's meditation had pursued a different course? That means it took a different turn. While Andrew was thinking about the futility means what? The uselessness. Something is futile means waste, useless. Yeah. Futility of marriage and relationships. The old woman was thinking about her daughter. She was concerned about both the mother and the child. She said that her daughter Susan did not want chloroform if it would harm the baby. Because sometimes what happens, chloroform harms the baby. She really looked forward to having the child. What dilemma was Andrew caught in? How did he resolve it? After an hour-long struggle, the child was born lifeless. That means as good as dead. And the mother was in critical state. Condition was very, very pathetic. Andrew was torn between his desire to attempt to save the child and his obligation towards the mother. He didn't know whether to save the child or the mother first. He overcame the dilemma. Instinctively, he gave the child to the nurse and turned his attention to Susan Morgan. How did he revive the mother? How did he bring back the mother to life? That is the meaning of revive. To revive Susan Morgan, who lay collapsed and almost pulseless, Andrew smashed a glass ampule instantly and injected the medicine. So she was injected a medicine by Andrew. Then he flung down the hypodermic syringe and worked ceaselessly to revive the almost lifeless woman. Mother was also as good as dead like the child. After a few minutes of intense effort, her heart strengthened and she was safe. She started breathing. What did Andrew think was wrong with the child? What did he do? Andrew saw the child was a perfectly formed boy. The head lolled on a thin neck and the limbs seemed boneless, as if there were no bones. He knew that the whiteness meant asphyxia pallida, that means suffocation due to lack of oxygen. He thought of the treatment. He remembered being used at the Samaritan. So he applied the same to the stillborn child. What was the treatment given to the child? Andrew hurried the child from one basin filled with cold water to the one with warm water. So in one basin, what did he put? Cold water. In the other, he put not hot water, warm water. He continued his efforts for half an hour to no avail. No avail means it was of no use. Lastly, he rubbed the child with a rough towel, crushing and releasing the little chest. That means pressing his chest, again releasing it with both his hands, till the child finally gave a cry. Finally gave a cry means now the child has started. That was an indication that the child has started breathing. Yes, so these were the very important questions and answers. Yes, please go through the lesson, then the questions and answers. This lesson is very important and favorite of the examiners. Write down in your notebooks, read again and again. So this is your assignment. Thank you.